Threads.
Threads. Oh, there's another.
All right. Welcome back. We are MDEV1001. That's Mobile Data Management in the summer 2023 semester at Georgian, and it's week 13, part 1 of our broadcast and recording. There may be a couple parts to this one. Let's see how it goes. Where are we in this course? We are at the last week of lecture. So this is our last lecture officially. And next week we'll talk about what's going to happen in a second. But this week is all around Firebase. Last week what we did was we talked about an intro to Firebase. What is it at a very high level? We were talking about whether we could expand this course or this program to have like 2 years. Yeah, we could. I could take this course and break it up into like part 1 and part 2, no problem, right? And have a whole database component. But anyways, we digressed. Last week we did Firebase, and we talked about Firestore, primarily, not real-time database. And there's a lot of other things we could have explored. We didn't. But this week what we're talking about is Firebase authentication. And I also want to discuss assignment 4 in more detail, because you guys need the details for when this is due. And next week, we're going to be talking about our final test. Let's talk about that briefly now. So the first part is there's not going to be a lecture next week. Okay, just to be clear, right? We still will meet physically, online, right? Because it makes sense for us to do it online. I think for this course, for this program, for us to do a test in-house is just going to cause a lot of people grief, right? And there's no need for that, right? So again, just to the nature of the program, because some people are going to be online, some people are in person, and some people are asynchronous. Again, we're just going to do it completely remote. I will appear at this hour next week to help. That's what I'm going to be there for, and to answer any questions and to talk to anybody about any mark discrepancies, because, God help me, next week is going to be a major marking week for me to catch you guys up, right? Which means, and I don't expect that it's going to be any surprises for people, because it's really about, are your videos available? Did you submit your GitHub links, and do they work? Like, have you shared those things with me? There's going to be some marks off from that. If I don't have video and I don't have GitHub, you'll get 0 for your in-class exercises, just let you know. So make sure you've included me, most people have, in your GitHub repository, your main one. It's supposed to be one big GitHub repository for all your in-class exercises. So I tried to make this easy. So if you got it right the first week, then you have it for the entire semester. Some people still don't have it right. And they're still asking questions about, I don't know why, but I can't push to GitHub. That should have been solved weeks ago, all right? So marks will be definitely happening. I have to get them done. The test itself, it's not going to be on Firebase, right? Your assignment 4 is on Firebase, but the test will not be on Firebase. Otherwise, I mean, it'll be too eerily similar, right, to be a final test, right? So, however, it will include authentication and full CRUD. So chances are either I'm going to get you to do it on an API, because last week's midterm was not on an API, so most likely it will be on an API, right? There will be random elements, right? So last time I got you guys to do random elements, it was just like your last name and a data set. And this time it may be something like that plus something else, right? And the reason for that is just to keep everyone honest. I say that and I smile inside because, I know how things are, guys. Just FYI. I'm not completely green to this kind of game. So the point is, it's not supposed to be, a killer. The test should be something you've seen before, right? It's not supposed to be a surprise, which means there'll be a lot of, kind of callback into what you've already done in the in-class exercises. Now, if you've never done in-class exercise before, the test will be impossible. It'll be like, how can you expect us to do a test like this, in the week when I have no idea where to start, right? We don't want that. That means if you follow along and done your homework, then it's kind of like you double down. You're just going to do even better on the test. It'll be no problem, right? Just like the first test should have been no problem for those people who actually did their in-class exercises, came to class, or even were online and asking questions and attempting every week to do something, right? So that's what the test will be. You will be able to reuse your UI from in-class exercises, so I'm not going to make you do new UI stuff that you've never done before, chances are there'll be 4 screens. You'll have a login screen, a register screen, some kind of like list screen of something, and some kind of full cred screen about something, whatever that something happens to be, plus some kind of random thing that I might ask you to do, right? That you probably know how to do, right? Like in terms of like element. Okay, we'll see how that goes. So that'll be the test for next week. That's kind of as much outline as I can give you. The best way to study for the test is finish up your in-class exercises. If you haven't done them, study the stuff you've already done for me. And if you couldn't do your Android part, then work on that stuff. The test will allow you to do it either on Android or iOS, whatever you're comfortable with, but not native. Not React Native, which means that if you've submitted something like that for me in the past, you're just going to get 0. Just letting you know, right? So it has to be with iOS or Android native, not React Native, because I'm not doing cross-platform. That's not what this course covers, okay? And it's a design choice for the course, not that it couldn't cover that stuff, because you can extrapolate and it could work on the 3 platforms, the 3 ways of doing this kind of stuff, whatever you want to call it. Yes, modality is a good word. Yeah, you should teach. But at the end of the day, it's the challenge that we have is trying to get you guys to do this stuff. Now, here's where the wrinkles come in, and I'll talk about wrinkle number 1. The due date is not on Sunday next week. The last day of class, the last day of the program for this semester is Friday, which means whatever's outstanding is due on Friday. That means your assignment's due Friday. That means your test is due Friday. There's not going to be an in-class exercise due next week because there's no in-class exercise, no lecture. But anything that's going to happen is Friday. Don't account for Sunday, which means it's going to be a very busy week for you guys next week because you guys, a lot of you, are working and doing stuff, and you plan for Sundays for things to be done. That's how I've kind of done it, right? Maybe other professors too. Don't know. But our course is finished on Friday, so please make sure you get her done. All right, and I mean that like as in, don't wait to the last minute. In fact, I'd recommend getting your assignment 4 done for this weekend as much as possible. And this way, you're not going to suffer with 2 things or 3 things that you have to get done by next week, in addition to everything else. Just, that's my take on it, okay? However, you manage your time the way it's your own. And I know some of you will do whatever you're going to do. Please do not think that the test is not worth a lot. It is worth 20%. If you don't get the test done, or if you skip the test, miss the test, you're late on the test, there's no extensions, it's a test, which means Friday at midnight it's due. If somehow it doesn't work, you don't give me your GitHub, you haven't done whatever, it'll be a potential way of not passing this course for some of you. All right, so please do not skip out on the test. The assignment is worth 5% of your final grade. And I'm not saying if you're going to skip on anything, skip on the assignment, but I mean, assignment and in-class exercise worth 4 and 5, test is 20. 20 you need to do. All right, you cannot. That is like a major priority in your lives next week to get done. Okay, in my opinion. So, and it's a culmination of everything we've talked about, until then. Concepts you'll be expected to know. Everything that we've covered, it's all inclusive, which means it's not just for the second half. It's not just for the first half. It's the entire course you need to know about. Because we're programmers, okay? We're not taking a history course where you need to know, like, the Dark Ages, in the first half, and in the second half it's modern history. We're not doing that, okay? This is everything from what you've known, because you have to know how to code and all that kind of stuff. You have to know about local data stores. We've kind of can use those as well, so that might be something that you might see as a requirement or not, right? Here's something we do know. There is no true false multiple choice type test that's going to happen next week. It's all practical, 100%, okay? So, it's individual. You can't combine with anybody else. If I see, and I'll also tell you this, that I've seen some stuff, I got to put it out there, that's eerily similar from one person to the next, even when I do this random stuff, a little bit random, even on in-class exercises. And guys, I see a lot of that, and I close one eye and I open up the other eye. right? When I look at this kind of stuff. Because if I was to open both eyes, half the class would be fail, right? I'm telling you this in a really good, being honest. I'm telling you that I know it's happening, all right? And next week, I got nothing to do. I mean, there's no lecture to build, right? There's no other courses that I got to do personally. I'm not writing a paper, right? Which means my eyes are going to be fully open next week in terms of what's going on. And so if you're planning to do some funny business or whatever, or if you're worried about getting things done, I would warn you against it. This could be something where you've trudged along and you've submitted stuff to Tom for this semester in your way, thinking you're going to get by, and then next week suddenly, the vault opens and, the Tom with both eyes, is going to come out, right? And that means that there's a chance, that I may not be as dumb as you think I am. Okay, just letting you know, all right? So, and it doesn't make sense anyway for you guys, in my opinion, but I'm the professor. And of course, it's always never going to make sense for me to tell you guys that it's okay to cheat. It's not okay to cheat, okay? So, you're just, beyond that you're cheating yourselves, it's just not okay. Anyway, so that's the test. Please take it seriously. Please get your stuff done as early as possible. Please don't cry for extensions or anything like that, because it can't be. Friday's the last day. There is no more extension beyond Friday, right? Realistically, this, if you do a test, it's in day, due by that day at midnight. I'm giving you all week, right, to do it. So that is your extension. I'm giving it to you on Monday-ish. You should have it done by Friday. That's plenty of time to get it done and schedule yourself around your work and your personal lives and all that stuff, okay? And you're doing it remote, so there's no travel time, all those kind of things. Okay. Questions about the test from people online or people in-house? Okay. Again, I don't think it's going to be something that you're going to go like, what did Tom give us? There shouldn't be an outcry, all right? Like, my God, the sky is falling down and it's raining frogs. What has Tom given us here? Okay, it shouldn't be like that. It should be more like, really? This is it? That's a better response. That's all Tom wants us to do? Yes, that's all I want you to do. All right, so that's what it's going to be for next week. Again, if you have a problem, a personal issue or question, please connect with me as soon as possible. Next week, I will make myself available throughout the week just to help, starting from Monday at 8 a.m. There will be, you can come across to me for Discord. I'm not going to disappear or whatever. I know it's last week. And please, if you have a serious question, please show up on the Wednesday. That is your last day that you're going to get me one-on-one next week, right? Between 100%. You might still be able to schedule some time with me next week, but if you need me for something and it's deadly urgent, right, then we need to see each other between 4 and 7 p.m. next week, because my lecture next week is going to be this. Hi, I'm here to help. Anyone have questions? No? Okay, bye. That's it. That's what we're going to do next week, right? Just like we did for the midterm test, right? If you don't want to show up next week, if I don't see you logging into Teams, right, within 15 minutes, if I don't have any, we're not going to wait around on Teams for hours, right? That doesn't make any sense. That's not good use of my time. Definitely not good use of your time for us to wait around online. I'm not going to watch you. So 15 minutes, if you're not there, we can meet on Discord after if you need me, right? If you need me to meet with you one-on-one and you have a question or you don't understand something, what I will do on next Wednesday is go through the test in more detail. I won't record it, right? That doesn't make sense. But I will go through it. I will go through it, kind of for you guys and, go through the details. So if you're looking for the details of what I'm looking for, well, actually, I have to record it, but I'll record it and I won't store it up on YouTube and whatever. It'll be unlisted and it'll be, one time and see you later. And I'll take it away. Yeah. It won't be part of the YouTube playlist anyway. How about that? Okay. Where I'm making everything else available on the playlist, you can actually look at all the videos. Should be pretty much in order. Okay, if you wanted to. So, so please make sure you have everything patched up by then. As always, I think when it comes to advice, some people ask me advice on how to study. I don't know how best to study other than just do your in-class exercise this week and keep on practicing, and all that kind of stuff. Okay, so no questions around the test. Hopefully you guys are okay. Let's discuss the assignment, because there's also this outstanding assignment that I want to talk about. There's one assignment left, and it is assignment 4, and for the most part, it should be exactly what you've expected it to be, which I talked about already, which is everything we're doing up until today would be your assignment, but with your own data set, not with mine. All right? And what your data set include? The only thing it is going to include is going to be your poster link. That's it, really, at the end of the day. And your own set of movies, not mine, and that kind of stuff. Well, here's the difference. You can work with a partner on your own. Some people have not signed up for groups. There are a separate group set for assignment 4. So if you haven't signed up, you will not be able to complete your assignment. All right, so please make sure you sign up for assignment 4 groups if you haven't done so already. That's an important thing to do. If for whatever reason you're in the wrong group, you got to let me know. There is no way for me to take you out, or for you to take yourself out of a group once you're in a group. Okay, you can't leave a group and join another one. All right, so make sure you do that. But what are you building? I need 4 screens for assignment 4, because those are the 4 screens that you're going to build. Your login screen, your register screen, your movie list screen, and your other stuff, your edit screen, edit screen. That's it. It's everything we've been talking about up till in-class exercise. This will be in-class exercise 12 today. So up until today, it'll cover everything you need for your assignment 4. Okay, so there's nothing that's, surprising. One thing is that you can use UI elements from assignment 1, 2, and 3 if that applies to you. Hopefully some of it will, so you can kind of reuse some of those things and not make new things. You can make your app either on iOS or Android, and of course there's always a bonus on this one if you want to do it on both. Okay, and I'm giving you 10 bonus marks, which is 10% bonus on your assignment if you choose to go there. Some people do not choose to do that. Sorry, let me say that again. Most people do not choose to do this, right? In order for you to get the bonus, like I said, you need to have your entire assignment done on one platform, and the other assignment, you're only going to get paid 10% extra, all right? But again, I don't think it's totally that difficult. If you have time, this is where you can really make up some marks if you lost marks on in-class exercises or you only did half of them. For example, you only did the one that we did in class, and some people haven't been doing the Android part. There's still a chance for you to get the other side with the bonus, right? I'm always trying to give you a little bit extra, so that way you can get the bonus and to make your marks up, okay? Let me talk about a couple things here just when we go through the details. When you read through this thing, it should make sense, but see where it says mandatory? This is new in the assignment. It says mandatory, which means if you don't get this part, then this part is 0, even though it's worth 5 marks, okay? So why did I do it this way this time around? Well, because some people have submitted stuff to me like, well, professor, I couldn't get the part that you're asking for, Firebase, but I did it in an API, or I did it with local data. Okay, I'm glad you did it with local data, but that whole part is 0. And if it's kind of a cascade, so if you didn't do any of this with Firebase, then you probably get 0 on the whole thing. All right, so that's why it's marked mandatory. And it says here, ensure your movie list screen's logic, that means your view controller or activity, connects and works with Firebase Firestore. There is not an option here for you to use real-time database or something else. It must be Firebase Firestore for this one. That's the only stipulation for your data, okay? And it's the same thing with your edit screen, mandatory, Firebase Firestore. And for your register screen, mandatory, Firebase authentication, which is what we're talking about. You cannot use your API authentication. Somehow, if you only did in-class exercise 11 last week, but you didn't do in-class exercise 12 from this week, and you're like, well, I submitted my API. Okay, fine, you submitted your API, but you're going to lose 30 marks if you did that, right? You still have a chance to pass if you did everything else perfect, but chances are you won't, right? So that's why I put these mandatory marks. You'll see something similar on your test, where there'll be, your final test will have mandatory requirements. It might say that, mandatory. If you don't finish this off, you get 0, right, for parts of the thing. It doesn't matter if it's for 15 marks. You lose the whole 15, right? If you don't get that done. Okay. It has to be aesthetically pleasing. Version control is the same thing. Video presentation is all the same. And at the end, there's a opportunity for a bonus, like I said before. And here's the breakdown of all the marks, which is 25 points for your movie list screen to work with your mandatory Firebase Firestore. 15 marks for your add edit screen and your register screen and your login screen. 10 for is your app aesthetically pleasing? Does it look like crap? If it does, you lose 10 marks, right? But it works. Some people have that problem, by the way, where your app has been looking pretty ugly, right? And, I just have to go, 10 marks off, right? And it's immediate. It's not even like is it, some marks, so it's kind of okay. No, if it's ugly, like if it's bad contrast on the thing, and if you've never done an app before, if it looks like you've never done one before, or something weird, or it's broken, as an example, it's just 10 marks off right away. Okay? If it's errors, if I see a lot of errors in your app or things that don't work or whatever, 10 marks off. Okay? Version control, video presentation, all that stuff for your. Oh, this is one thing I should also say, which I didn't say. I'm going to start saying this coming up. Video is mandatory, right? So if you don't put your video together, I kind of said that at the beginning though, so it's kind of like, rehashing. This is like the first day of class. I said like, videos are mandatory, right? And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, videos are mandatory for the whole thing. If you don't do your video, even though it's worth 10 marks, you get like 0 for the entire thing, right? So you need your video. Please make it so that I can hear you. Please make it so I can see, your screen. Please don't record your screen with your phone, right? People do all kinds of weird stuff, right? And here's something that's really weird with the assignment and your midterm tests and final tests and all that kind of stuff. It's like, you know how to do in-class exercises, right? So let's think about this. You know how to do in-class exercises, but somehow, suddenly, on your midterm test, your final test, and your assignments, you don't know how to do them. Remember? One eye open, one eye closed. Next week, both eyes open, right? If I see that kind of stuff. And, I'm sorry to tell you, but ChatGPT is not going to help, right? When it comes to, like, it being exactly the same code, all right? Like, anyway, let's move on. I don't want to, kind of work myself up, I feel like I'm be with the dog with a bone, what I'm saying? I'll be frothing, right? I don't want to do that. All right, let's move on. So this is your assignment 4. I don't think it's anything that you're going to be surprised about, okay? There's nothing surprising about it. I have made it due August 18th. That's next Friday. Remember that you can get it done anytime before that. Please don't wait around. Recommending for you is to finish it this Sunday, right? Or Monday, worst case scenario, right? So, space it out a little bit so you're not like, killing yourself, right? And you'll have everything you need to get it done today, right? And you'll see how it's not that difficult. All right, so that's the assignment. Hopefully there's no questions around that. Anybody? Online or in class? Sorry, Andrew, I know you have probably questions, but you're probably going to be fine. Okay. Moving on then from the assignment. And what I'm going to do is, instead of me doing one massive video, I'm just going to stop, and this is the assignment and tests, and then we'll just start another video for the next part, just so that way people have seen the assignment and test separate, and then they can move on up.